Hello there, friends. I'm a little bit confuddled, you could say. I'm still trying to come to terms with the fact that the majority of Americans voted for Donald Trump. But also those around the world who are also celebrating Donald Trump coming into power. It's like they don't understand or realise what is actually going to happen if Donald Trump does what he says he wants to do. Now, I think it's a foregone conclusion we're going to be looking at a government, a dictatorship. That's a dictatorship government in the United States. Now, Donald Trump is going to surround himself with yes men. The last time he was in power, Donald Trump had a few people there, like anti-Fauci and what have you, gun the CDC, people there who, well, you can argue, sort of like steadied the ship somewhat and held him to the ground, a bit of sense, you know? Well, actually, no. Actually, they tried, okay? This is the other thing. How can anyone trust or believe in somebody who tells them to drink bleach? Or put a light up their derriere. Okay, he didn't specifically say that. He's going on about some bright UV light. Well, look into that, he says. Yes. And the poor old lady sitting, I can't remember her name, she's basically face palming, or she might as well have been. But she wondered why she didn't say anything at the time, really. But, you know, she did have an interview afterwards regarding that, because she was asked that question, why didn't you speak up about it? And quite frankly, she just said she was bit shocked. I think she was basically in shock. I think most people would be in shock if they'd been told to ingest chlorine, you know, other than what's in the swimming pools. You're not supposed to ingest that either, are you? It's got to be better than urine, I suppose. But anyway, I think there's lots of reasons why we actually, why we got to this point. I really do. And one is clearly education. It really is. And I think over the years, because there's been a decline in education amongst youngsters, because a lot of the youngsters are celebrating it. A lot of youngsters, more than ever before, have decided to vote for Donald Trump because they're sick of their current chances in life, their lot. I get that. I get that. But Donald Trump's not the answer. You could argue the Democrats aren't the answer. But Donald Trump is not. It's just going to make it worse. It's going to make the situation worse. And in the UK, for instance, we had a Labour government, the last Labour government, whose mantra was education, education, education. Sounds like a good mantra to me. It sounds like it makes sense to me. It really does. But now, after 14 years of Tory rule in the UK, we've got a situation where we've got a lot of intellectually challenged people. Sorry, but I'm only going to say what as I see it, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to fluff around the edges. We've got a load of figgos. We just have. Anyone who gets suckered in by the likes of Donald Trump, Nigel Farage and all that ilk, clearly are intellectually challenged. Yes, I've upset a load of people, and yes, you're going to start unsubscribing from the channel. Well, sorry, I'd rather speak the truth. Everyone's just saying, the reason why we got Donald Trump and it's because of this or because of that. Oh, we're going to get reform next. Nigel Farage will be the next Prime Minister. This is obviously cognitive dissonance. People not thinking things through because they're not capable of thinking things through because they're intellectually challenged. There it goes. That's a technical term, by the way. You know, I not like it. You might sound wrong, and you can't call people stupid, like I did in my last video. And yes, I lost some subscribers, but I'm not going to lie. No, I'm not going to do it. Got to call a spade, you know. No, I'm not the brightest flipping spark now, or the flipping sharpest knife in the drawer. I certainly am not. I'm a woodworker after all, but as a practical man, I can see that this is not fitting. It's not a good joint. It doesn't work. I understand that world economy is based on all the major economies, not the small economies. Effectively, they make up one of the larger economies together. But see, the thing is, if you've got like one economy is going to literally shoot themselves in the foot, give themselves a bit of a limp, you've then got a spoke in the wheel that's missing or it's broken, and the whole world economy becomes affected. It just does. It has, every time there's been a recession, it's been triggered by one of the world economies, and usually it's the United States, like the last recession when they shorted the mortgages. It has a knock-on effect. It affects everything. And if it affects people's bottom line, their disposable incomes, their spending money, what have you, they spend less. Stuff that's been imported, for instance, or insurance policies, or holidays, all that sort of stuff. Quite often it's stuff that they're repurchasing from abroad. Now, if Donald Trump does what he says he's going to do and apply all these tariffs on China, it's clear to me that the cost of, if you put 60% onto something that's going to cost 100 quid, that's 160 quid it's going to cost you. No, it's not true what Donald Trump says, that the other countries will be paying the tariffs. That is somebody who clearly doesn't understand how imports work. The importer will be paying the tariff and they'll pass it on to their customer. And they will pass it on to their customer. And the shop will pass it on to you. And that includes, like, Temu, Xiaom, AliExpress, all those Chinese companies out there that you love to buy stuff from because it's so flippin' cheap directly from China. They're going to be forced to apply those tariffs at source. So when you buy your products, it will be added. Maybe not straight away. Like with Brexit here in the I'm in France, but in the UK. If I order anything from the UK, I have to be very careful because the post lady or postman or person might say, "Ooh, I see there's a tariff to be paid." It's happened to me 3 times so far, living here in France, from stuff that's been ordered or sent to us from the UK. So smaller businesses and stuff like that, smaller importers, they won't have the facilities or the ability to, I'm talking drop shippings and stuff, for instance. They might set up a website and they sell a few goods on there, but it's delivered directly from source, such as from China. You might end up with something landing on your doorstep, especially early on when they're trying to feel the way and get things organised. You might find somebody knocking on your door asking for money, or you'll get an email or something saying, "Oh, you can't have this item delivered until you've paid the tariff." Now, as somebody who lives in France, and whenever I bought anything from the United States, let's say, for instance, I bought anything for my blades, for instance, for my Ferris zero-turn lawnmower. Well, it's an IS3000, okay? I've got 3 blades on there, makes up around 5 feet cut. 62 inches or whatever it is. Now, whenever I bought any blades from the US, I'd get them from eBay, generally. It's cheaper, you see. It's cheaper buying them from the US. It's not now, I found a really good supplier here. But at the time, you'd have the tariffs, you'd have the postage, and before you know it, the price has gone right up. It's still cheaper at the time, but that's tariffs for you. I had to pay the tariff, not the other country. That's how tariffs work. That's how they've always worked. So everything will become more expensive, which will in turn push up inflation at the same time because you're going to have to spend more money, and they'll become even more expensive at source because the value of, the dollar will decrease and the pound will decrease. It might be, might be different between the pound and the euro too, the dollar. We might be better off over here. We don't know. Well, quite frankly, it's not usually how it works, is it? And Donald Trump, you see, last time he had those people around him that held his feet to the ground a little bit. Only a little bit. But this time, he's formulating his government on the basis of yes men. Now, Trump Jr. he's just made a statement yesterday. Oh, we're looking for new people. Okay, we're looking for people to join the government, he says. Right? But we don't want anybody who thinks they're better than Donald Trump. Then my daddy says. I thought, hang on. It doesn't work like that. You have specialists in fields. That's why you have advisors. What's the point of having an advisor if the advisor is considered being less worthy than the person you're advising? It makes no flippant sense. This is basically a one-man rule. This is going to be Donald Trump's rule. He's going to say yay or nay. And unless the people around him can say, hang on, this ain't a good idea, Dad, or it ain't a good idea, Donald, it ain't a good idea, Mr. Trump, unless they can actually say something and stand up against it and convince them otherwise, he is just going to do it. He's going to apply these tabs. He will order these tabs. He'll be putting his big signature on a piece of paper again, like he was doing before. Totally undemocratic, but that's what he was doing again and again and again. He's got to do it more. And the people, the ordinary folk in the United States, are going to be the ones who suffer. And they are the ones, I'm talking about the 75 million plus who voted for Donald Trump, are going to suffer. Now, my belief is that those who aren't suffering with severe non-return cognitive dissonance, return to normality, they might have buyer's remorse. Those who do not will try and blame every other Tom, Dick and Harry. That is not Trump. Because Trump is marvellous. Trump is wonderful. He's the Messiah. But no, he's a naughty little boy. So this is my take on this. Trump is going to be a dictator. You could argue he's going to be a fascist. He's going to affect the economy to an extent it's going to damage the world economy. And we're going to get into a situation where we won't be able to pull ourselves out of it because there's no one in the US government who is going to make conscious and decisive decisions that will improve the state of the economy, who will mend what Donald Trump does. Now, in the United Kingdom, after Liz Truss, we had Andrew Bailey, who had been investing in bonds, and he sold the bonds to deal with the Trussonomics of Liz Truss. He managed to steady the ship. It wasn't perfect, but he managed, to be fair to him, I'm not a lover of Andrew Bailey, but to be fair dues to him, he managed to steady the ship. It's a fine balance. And it's not to be messed with the likes, I'm talking about the economy in general, and then obviously the federal bank in the US. It mustn't be meddled with the likes of Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is going to do whatever he can to make his life better, not yours. We have to be honest. Why he's in power. He's in power because he's managed to dupe a whole load of people who clearly are cognitively challenged, they're uneducated, either they can't afford, but think about the education system, they go to colleges in the US, it costs you like 25, 30 grand a year. You know, it's just gone up in the UK, but still only around just under 10,000. Still have a lot of money for people, with student loans and what have you. People don't go to college because they can't afford to. And this is like, college and further education is just a remit for the rich. Everyone else will be held down because governments don't want you to have a fine education. They feel that those minions who have a fine education stand up against them. Especially when you've got somebody in power who is cognitively challenged, such as Donald Trump. Suppress the masses and you'll maintain power. And Donald Trump made it quite clear in his rallies that this will be the last election you will have to vote on. He's going to do everything he can to be the president for life. Anyway, what do you reckon? Please leave it in the comments down below. I find this extremely depressing. I worry about friends, what have you, in the United States who, quite frankly, are petrified at the moment. Celebrities are deciding, hang on, we're out here. They're bugger off because they've got the means to do so, they've got the money. And other rich buggers, they've got the money to say, you know, we're not hanging around, we're off, you know. A lot of them actually going to the UK. Johnny Depp's already in the UK, and he said, like, oh, crikey, I'm not going back there, you know. I wonder if Harrison Ford will, after his Liam Neeson video. His take on Taken. I've got a specific set of skills. Skills are people like you. Oh dear. So yeah, it's just a way for them to control. And Donald Trump's going to be there for a long time. I just hope I'm wrong. I really do. Anyway, what say you? Please leave in the comments down below. Please put your like button. If you want to support the channel, you can do it on Patreon or buy us a coffee, and the links are down below. And I need all the help I can get. Tell you, flipping hell, I'm going to need a therapist. I can't afford one. And no wonder all the Americans, they have therapy. How come all Americans have therapy? Does it help? Huh? Oh, that's a car coming. Also, we're doing rewilding here in France. We're planting 1,000 trees on 2 acres of land. If you're part of that, there's a GoFundMe link down below. And basically, we'll plant a tree on your behalf. I'll also make a sign to go with the tree. Your memory of a loved one, just your name if you like, or present for Christmas, you know, whatever. Blimey. They like motor down there, don't they? Flipping hell. Get off my road! I'm now in your house here. He's not coming there now. He's going to be doing a bit of gardening work, I reckon. Anyway, it's time for me to go. So I can say toodaloo, you know. But please, comment down below and boop the old like button. Blimey.